Over the past 27 days, the U.S. Armed Forces, most powerful in the world, been annihilating Iran's military capacity with force, precision, skill like the world has never seen. It was a violence actually. Really violence. We're crushing Iran's currently as we speak. I just looked, we had another big day. We hit them. They don't know what's happening. At Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada, F-16 fighting Falcon fighters are being prepared for a combat sorting. Ground crews tow the aircraft out of the hangars and onto the flight line. Fuel trucks connect and fill the tanks to full capacity. Mechanics remove engine intake covers, check the landing gear, and run through the pre-flight inspection checklist. In the command center, a full mission briefing is underway for Madison Marsh, who will be flying on this sortie. The briefing covers the flight profile, target areas, communications procedures, emergency protocols, and the specific training objectives for the mission. The equipment fitting takes place under the supervision of life support specialists. Madison tries on her flight helmet first. The fit has to be exact. If not, they might be touching a little bit. Then she puts on her git, a pair of specialized flight trousers that cover the legs and abdomen. 2 life support technicians help her into them and begin tightening the lacing that runs along the outside of each leg and around the waist. The lacing has to be pulled snug so the suit fits tightly against the skin with no gaps. This is critical. The git's pneumatic system by a hose. During hygiene maneuvers, hard turns, pull-ups, combat maneuvering, the aircraft system automatically inflates air bladders built into the suit. These bladders squeeze the legs and abdomen, preventing blood from pooling in the lower body and draining away from the brain. Without the git, a pilot pulling 6 or 7 GS would lose vision within seconds and black out shortly after. The suit keeps the blood in the upper body and the pilot conscious. The technicians inflate the suit on the ground to test it. The bladders fill, squeeze tight around the legs and stomach, then deflate. The system works. Madison is cleared to fly. And then we'll have you do it again once you have your leg straps on. On the flight line, an F-16 is waiting. 2. Madison walks out to the aircraft, climbs the boarding ladder, and takes the rear seat in the 2-seat F-16D trainer variant. The lead pilot, the aircraft commander sitting in the front seat, runs through a cockpit orientation with her, pointing out the instruments, the ejection seat handles, the oxygen connections, and the procedures she needs to follow during the flight, what to do if they have to eject, how to communicate, what to watch on the instruments. The briefing is thorough but quick. Once Madison confirms she understands, the lead pilot climbs into the front seat and straps into the ejection harness. Shoulder straps, lap belt, leg restraints, all tightened and locked. The canopy lowers and seals. The engine starts. The single Pratt & Whitney F-100 turbofan spooling up behind them with a rising whine that builds into a roar. The F-16 rolls out of its parking spot and heads for the runway. Heat. Heat. On the runway, the pilot pushes the throttle forward into afterburner. The jet accelerates hard, presses both crew members back into their seats, and lifts off. The landing gear retracts and the fighter climbs steeply into the clear Nevada sky. The training flight is designed to simulate real combat conditions as closely as possible. The F-16 drops to low altitude and flies fast over the desert mountain ranges surrounding Nellis. The terrain rushes past below ridgeal lines, canyons, dry valleys. The pilot weaves between the mountains, keeping the aircraft low to avoid simulated enemy radar. At this altitude, every hill and rock face is visible in detail. The crew scans the ground for simulated targets, vehicle formations, weapons positions, structures, the same kind of targets they would need to identify and strike in an actual combat sortie over Iran or any other theater. The aircraft pulls hard turns around mountain peaks. The git inflating and squeezing with each maneuver, keeping the blood where it needs to be. The flight is fast, physical, and demanding. Exactly what combat flying feels like, minus the enemy shooting back. At another Air Force base, the same preparation is underway. An F-16 is pulled from the hangar, fueled, and inspected on the flight line. Inside, a female pilot goes through equipment fitting, helmet adjusted, oxygen mask sealed, get by 2 technicians, and pressure tested to make sure the bladders inflate and squeeze correctly during hygiene maneuvers. She receives her mission briefing, walks out to the aircraft, and climbs into the rear seat of the 2-seat F-16D. The lead pilot in the front seat runs through the cockpit procedures with her, then straps in the canopy closes, the engine starts, and the fighter taxis out and takes off. The flight follows the same profile. Low altitude over mountainous terrain, hard turns, simulated target identification on the ground. Combat conditions replicated as closely as training allows.